I see that I've matched with this Morgan Holly. It looks like she's doing music. I'm intrigued, but in her bio, and maybe not a lot of people know this.
Oh no.
What is up, you guys? How you doing? I'm Paul.
I'm Morgan.
In today's video, the unusual story of how we met and fell in love. I wasn't sure if I should say the unusual story, the crazy story, the wild story. Like, I don't want to overhype it, but it is unusual.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it's cool. For those of you who have been following us a while, I literally think it was one of our first 5 or 6 videos where we talked about our first date. So some of you guys may be familiar with this, but it's like we've come so far. We know there are people on here that have no clue, and learning the story of how couples met and fell in love is fun. Like it's a good thing.
All right, well, before we get into that, make sure you subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you know when we go live. We make videos on culture and social issues from a Christian perspective to help you have hope
And be free.
All right, many of you guys know Paul and I just have a passion and a love for a healthy lifestyle.
We do.
We are offering
Here we go. Something a little bit new for the P&M fam.
We want to take you guys through a 21-day program called Trainer Joe's.
Not Trader Joe's, Trainer Joe's.
21-day transformation program.
Yeah, it's to help you lose weight and get healthier. Really, that's what it is. So whether you have a lot of weight you would like to lose or whether it's 10 pounds, this might be something that you'd be interested in. We believe in it. We've had several of our friends and family go through the program and they've had really cool success with it. So we're excited to bring you guys along and see the success that you can have. It's actually my dad's program. I ended up working for him for about a year early in our marriage.
I actually went through the program. I just personally felt like I did not have a good grasp mentally on food. I felt like food was controlling me. I was not 100 pounds overweight, but I just felt like I was not in the place where I wanted to be physically and mentally and even spiritually. Going through this program, like seriously changed my life. I have not only lost the weight that I wanted to lose, but I've kept it off, and I have just had a whole mental shift on how I look at food, and that's really what this program does. Change your mindset so that you can get to a place where you feel confident, happy, and you feel like you're honoring the Father with your body and how you handle food.
Something kind of cool is the average weight loss for the 21-day transformation, I believe, is right around 11 pounds. So like it does work if you do the program. So it's not an exercise program. It's focusing on what you eat, how much you eat, and the way that you think about food, as Morgan was saying.
So for 21 days, we're going to meet twice a week on Zoom calls with you guys and walk you through session by session. There are 7 sessions, and we're going to have a private Facebook page where we will be able to interact with you guys. You'll be able to share your progress, share testimonies, be encouraging to one another. I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really sweet.
Go to the link in our description below. It's going to take you to Trainer Joe's website, and there's going to be a sign up for Paul and Morgan group sessions. This 21-day program costs $65. Sign up today. You guys have until March 22nd to sign up, and then March 23rd is our first session.
Let's go. That'll be Tuesday, and the sessions will be Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, and Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And we can send you videos if you happen to miss because you have an obligation or something. If you're hearing this and you're like, yeah, I want to lose some weight, I want to get healthier, we invite you guys to do it.
Click the link below.
Morgan, why don't you kick things off, start us from the beginning? I didn't know you, you didn't know me. How did we get on each other's radars?
Okay. I had gotten out of a 3.5-year-long relationship. I was over the idea of dating to look for someone to marry. I was like, I just did that for 3.5 years. Like, believing that I was going to marry this guy. I'm over that. All right, so I'm just going to go on some dates with some guys for fun. They'll take me out to fancy places. It'll be great.
She was not in the best of places, to be honest.
I was not. Okay, I was a mess. Honestly, I was figuring things out, and I was not figuring them out.
Bless her heart. I mean, but praise God for his grace
Truly.
On us.
Okay, if I'm being honest, I feel like God was like, okay, Morgan got out of this relationship. She listened to me because it was very clear that it was God telling me to get out of that relationship. But, like, she's losing it. And so I just need to plop her husband right in front of her because I don't know where I know everything. So I know where she's going. I don't want her to go there. So, bloop, here's your husband.
And real quick, guys, a little disclaimer. We're just being real with how our relationship happened. We're not suggesting that you take all of the elements of what we're about to share and apply them to you guys and say, okay, I want to do it just like this. Take the good stuff, leave the stuff that maybe isn't as great.
So 4 months after that relationship, my friend and I had made myself a Tinder account.
Tinder. Oh, can't live with it, can't live without it. You can definitely live without
definitely
it.
Live
but
without
we lived with it and it worked. And it worked.
Yes, so I made a Tinder profile. My friend kind of convinced me of it. We're like, it'll be fun. Totally like a joke. Like, I was not really planning to actually go out on dates. I ended up going out on one other date besides Paul.
It wasn't a joke for me.
And then Paul came along.
That's interesting that, so I came into the picture 4 months after you got out of a 3.5 year long relationship. It wasn't a great situation.
Yeah.
Some people would say, like,
don't do that.
Don't do that. Give yourself more time
to heal.
Guys, I think real quick, this just goes to show, like, the story that we're about to unfold for you guys goes to show there's not one cookie cutter way to do it.
No, there's not.
There were elements where maybe, like, it wasn't ideal, and praise God, it just worked out. So,
but honestly, I'm serious, guys. Like, I think that I was going down a dangerous path, and God was just like, I'm gonna save my little girl. I'm gonna redirect her. Polly!
And I will send this man. Go! The funny thing is, you guys, like, I was not, like, praise God. I mean, he really was involved in this, and I don't want to belittle the part I played. You know, I'm a good man. But I wasn't no perfect Prince Charming.
No.
From when we met to when we got married. Like, but anyway, all right.
Yeah.
So, we matched on Tinder. Oh, by the way, I got on Tinder. Some girls that I was working with were like, Paul, you should get a Tinder. Got a Tinder, and I was suddenly, like, intrigued. Whoa. You know, interesting.
All these girls.
I was in a place where I was looking for a wife. And guys, like, as you maybe already know, online dating, it can work. A lot of people are meeting online. Obviously, there are some sites that we'd recommend more than others.
Right.
I would recommend any of the more Christian dating sites than I would the more secular ones. Tinder, I got one and I was like, who knows? Maybe I'll find a really quality woman and end up marrying her. It may be, some of you guys would say it's dumb. Some of you would say, I don't want to mess with Tinder. I get that. I'm not saying go get a Tinder.
I thought it was dumb when we first met.
There are a lot of not great people on Tinder, so you need to be cautious. I'm not going to go into that, though. I was on Tinder. I see that I've matched with this Morgan Holly. She's got all these cutesy pictures of her in Miami. Yeah. It looks like she's doing music. I'm intrigued, but in her bio, and maybe not a lot of people know this.
Oh, no. Don't do this, ladies. Don't do this, please.
In her bio, it said something like, I like to snuggle.
Or cuddle or something.
Or cuddle. And so I look at that and I'm just like, pass. That just sounds, I'm just going to be honest, it just sounds loose to me.
It did.
Some of you may hear that and be like, oh, Paul, get over yourself. To me, it's like, I interpreted it as, some of you might, this girl's good to snuggle with guys. And
people chill out, okay? You don't need to come to my defense. I am a strong woman. I can speak for myself. And I was not in a good place.
I don't want no girl who's snuggling with lots of guys on Tinder. But maybe a day goes by and I get this message from Morgan Holly.
I sent him that message.
And her message was,
hey, I love Jesus too. So there's that. Because in his bio it said, love God, 5th grade teacher, love cats.
Okay.
I don't know why he said love cats, because he doesn't actually love cats.
And I'm allergic.
He's never had a cat in his life.
I have.
Okay,
I do love cats, kind of. Anyway, that was a little odd, yeah. So she sends me that message. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give her a chance. We start messaging back and forth a little bit. I'm realizing, whoa, there's something special about this girl. I'm looking for a wife, so I'm not messing around with the questions I'm asking. So I'm hitting her with some tough questions to see Is this girl way out there, or is she someone who has a heart for the Lord and maybe is just a little edgy? And I really was enjoying getting to know you through messages on Tinder, and then we jumped onto Facebook. Maybe a few days go by and I noticed that she was living in Louisville. I was in Lexington, about an hour and 15 minutes apart. And I said, hey, Morgan, I'm going to this book fair in Frankfurt, kind of like, here's Lexington, here's Louisville, here's Frankfurt. I'm going to this book fair on Saturday. Would you like to join me? So what was your thoughts right then when you get that from me on Facebook?
I was like, book fair? So I was like, okay, we're gonna go look at like a bunch of books in like a giant convention hall. I've never heard of this. Cool. I'm down.
And that's after only talking for probably 3 days. So that's kind of risky.
After I said yes, I told my friend and I was like, hey, I'm going on this date. I'm not telling my parents because I don't want them to know yet about Tinder.
Don't do that, you guys.
Don't do that.
Don't keep it from your parents.
Don't do that. I don't know why. I was 20 at that point. Like, my parents aren't going to tell me, no, I can't go. But I just, like, wasn't ready to, like, hear it from them. I don't know. And so I was just like, I'm just gonna go, whatever.
Sorry, Tina and Charlie. But, you know, it's how it went.
So I gave my friend my location. She had, like, where I was at all times. And I was like, if something goes wrong, call my mom.
So at least she had a little something in place. Yeah. If I ended up being
a psychopath.
A psycho. So we show up. I show up in Frankfurt. I'm walking over to the Frankfurt Convention Center where the book fair was. And I'm thinking, is she really going to show up? Did I even have your...
Really? You didn't think that I was going to show up?
I had my doubts.
Yeah, you had my number.
I had your number at that point?
Mm-hmm.
I had my doubts because it's like, there's so many flaky people in the world. And especially when it comes to dates of people that you hadn't had a friendship with. So I'm walking in and I'm like, all right, is she going to show up? I'm looking around. I see this girl and I can still remember she had on high-waisted jeans and a long flowy cardigan. Mm-hmm. Navy blue. Mm-hmm. Her hair was a pretty, like, it was a reddish auburn.
Yeah, my hair color was going through all kinds of things at that point.
I liked it though. And I saw her and I immediately was like, she is really attractive. That was my first thought. I just took a sigh of relief probably. And I was like, she showed up and she's as attractive as she was on her pictures. I was pumped. I was pumped.
Goodness. You were walking towards me. I like gave him a look up and down. I was like, oh, he's cute.
Let's just go over some of the thoughts we were having as we were conversing.
Oh, I gotta try to remember.
I remember thinking to myself, this is such an unusual first date because this girl is so real and raw. She's telling me stuff that I think 98% of girls would be like, I'm gonna hold off on that. Ooh, what's he gonna think about me? What if I say this? She was just an open book, almost too much. But it was refreshing to me because I had seen the other side where girls are so careful, so cautious. Maybe they're just saying what they think I want to hear. So I was like, this girl's being real with me. And for you, you've said in the past that you kind of got to that place because you were like, I want to put out who I really am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't want to waste time. Even though, like, I wasn't looking to be in a serious relationship, maybe that was also partly God, like, being like, don't waste time. Just be real in who you are. I don't know. I just felt like I'm not going to hide who I am. Like, I'm a mess right now.
And I looked at that and I was like, guys, again, like... You can judge us if you want. When she says she was a mess.
I wasn't like a mess. Okay, actually,
we all have our messy stuff. So I was a mess in some ways, but I think if you just looked at it, looking in on it, Morgan was going through, again, 3.5-year relationship. She was out of that, but there was some stuff within that wasn't great.
Yeah, and just again, like you guys probably know, I struggled severely with depression for a long time, anxiety, panic attacks. At that time, I had a service dog that helped calm me down for my panic attacks. Like, I had a lot of stuff.
One other layer to that was she had, we just got to say it because this was a significant thing. We sit down on the bleachers, the book fair is going on. We're kind of over to the side just chatting. And I noticed she had 2 tattoos. One was a former dog that she used to have.
My service dog.
One was a infinity symbol.
Right here, guys. This is a cover-up if you didn't know. I had the infinity sign and it said, until marriage.
Yeah, and so I Some of you guys are going to have really strong opinions on tattoos. I don't want to go into that right now, but I was like, I think it's kind of cool that you have tattoos. I maybe said, tell me about them, or I don't even know if I did.
You were like, I like your tattoos. It's cool that you have some tattoos. And I was like, oh yeah, thanks. I was like, don't pay any attention to this though. It's not true.
She went ahead and just told me. I mean, this is literally within an hour of meeting each other. That conversation where she ultimately told me that she
was not a virgin. I said like something like, pay no attention to this when I'm getting it covered up. And then I like told him the story.
Yeah. So in the course of this first date, I was just trying to get to the heart of who is this person? Who really is this person? And she was so vulnerable with me. I felt like it wasn't that hard to get there. Yeah, there's some stuff, but it's like, who is this person? Where's her heart at? And I was sensing a lot of good stuff. On top of that, I was just having so much fun. I think I came home and told some of my friends this was the best first date I had ever been on. And leading up to that, had been going out on a lot of dates to try to find my wife.
So we walk around this book convention for a long time, and then we're hungry, so we go to this pizza place, and what do I know? About 6 of Paul's best friends show up out of nowhere and are like, hey, we just happen to be here.
And I'm not totally sure how that all...
Yeah, how did that happen?
Like, did I invite 5 of my friends to come kind of join us on the second half of our date?
But I met them, and they were amazing and so funny. At first, I was a little weirded out that his friends were showing up, but then it was like a relief because we had talked for like 2 hours straight of him asking me a ton of questions.
Probably
I was like,
drilling...
I need to chill out.
Probably drilling her a little too much. I get going a little bit.
So before his friends came and we were still sitting on the bleachers and talking, I just asked Paul, I was like, so why were you on Tinder? And one of the reasons, the main reason I asked him this was after talking to him for an hour or so, I just realized like this guy is very Christian, very like was homeschooled, sheltered, like he is strange. And like just like he was so like innocent and pure and like naive in the best ways, and I was just like, Tinder is known as like the hookup site and like the place you go if you want fancy dinner dates. Kind of. Not really, honestly, but I thought it was. So I was like, why the heck are you on Tinder? And he said, well, I'm looking for a wife. And I think that I was taking a sip of my water or something, and I was like...
You know what's funny? Like, as I'm hearing this, like, we were both weird in how honest we were.
Yes, we were very honest.
Like, you matched my honesty.
Yeah.
And it made for a really interesting first date.
I laughed at that, and I was like, oh, well, you're probably on the wrong website or something. And he was like, I don't think so. He's like, you can find a wife anywhere. You just gotta look for him.
Boom!
And I was like, this guy is insane. He is so naive. I just remember constantly thinking that in our first few, like, dates and stuff. Probably the entire time we were dating. I was just like, this guy is so naive.
In the best way?
In the best way. Yeah, so basically he said, he's like, yeah, I'm not messing around. Like, I'm not dating to date. I'm looking for a wife. I was just kind of like, okay, well. I think I said something like, oh, well, I'm not getting married for like another 5 years or something like that.
Something. And in my mind, for whatever reason, I was like, we'll see about that. Like, I didn't say that, but I was thinking like,
4 months later and we were engaged, y'all. One thing that I didn't mention is when we first like walked up to each other and met for the very first time, I went in to like give him a hug and he goes, hey, what's up? And he gave me a high five. I didn't
even do a side hug.
You didn't until we left. Then he gave me a very like side hug, and I was like, oh my goodness. Right before I got in the car, he said, you know, I've always wanted to go to Southeast Christian, so like, which is the church that I went to. He was like, maybe we could go next week together. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. So he already like planned out our second date. He was like, and then we could go grab breakfast afterwards or something, whatever. So So I said, yes, that'd be fine.
You left, you drove off, you got home, and are you thinking to yourself, I could see this going somewhere?
I still was in a very strange mindset. I think I was very just kind of like in a daze / like really confused, trying to figure Paul out. I just like had never met a guy like him in my life.
It's kind of like, this man is so strange and mysterious and wild and fascinating.
Yes, exactly like that. I had never met a guy like you, babe. Ever. I think honestly all of my friends would say they've never met a guy like you either. Like you're just rare. People like Paul, men like Paul exist. My friends are married to guys like similar to Paul, but Paul in himself, just like a very unique man. I had just been around several guys, obviously in my 3.5 year long relationship, and then a few guys in between that, 4 months before meeting Paul, of guys who like said they were Christians, but like weren't really living a Christ-like life. It was just weird for me to actually see it in the like flesh. Like there guys like this exist. Like he says he loves Jesus and he actually like seems like he loves Jesus. Just him like, sharing just scriptures on our first date, like quoting the Bible. I was just like, what is this? I've never witnessed that before. It was rare anyways. So I was just like, and he's looking for a wife. I don't know. I just don't know.
So you were somewhere like in the middle. Maybe this could actually be my husband one day. Maybe it's totally...
Oh, no. That wasn't even in my mind at that point. I was just like, I'll give this guy another chance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I get home and my mind is like, she's a wild stallion of a woman. So I was at that point, again, proceed with caution, as you should, so early on, but I was really hopeful that this was going to go somewhere. So we confirmed date number 2, which was probably close to a week later on Sunday, going to our church. And I remember church starting up, the worship starting, and I looked over at Morgan during worship and she was worshiping God with passion. She was worshiping God like she had an intimate relationship with him. And that was so beautiful to me because that's what I wanted. I wanted a girl that loved the Lord, that maybe had some baggage or maybe had some stuff to work out, more than someone who had this spotless record and was just kind of passive when it came to the things of God. And obviously there was more stuff that I wanted to get to know about Morgan, but seeing a woman that loved to worship God, that was a huge plus for me at that moment.
It's funny because between our first date and our second date was, a week. And in the middle of that week, I sent him, we're texting and stuff, and somehow physical boundaries comes up. And he says that...
That was before our date with church.
Yeah. And he says that he does not want... I don't even know how this got brought up or whatever, but he said he doesn't even want to hold a girl's hand unless he knows that he's going to marry them.
I was trying to be thoughtful in the way I wrote it, but I probably was just like, I just want to be...
It wasn't rude. It was just like, I read it and I was just like, hold hands until we're engaged, which he didn't say engaged. He just was like, I want to be sure. Like, I want to know. Like, I'm gonna be with this woman. And so it was like shocking to me. I had never heard that before. Like, that was insane to me. So I was just like, I sent him a text back and was like, I don't think that I'm the girl for you.
She said that, and I read that, and I was like... it totally blindsided me, but it wasn't that I read it and thought, oh, this girl just wants to get real physical. I was getting the vibes that it was like she was just so not used to someone like me.
And he wrote back and he was like, why do you say that? And I was like, well, I just don't think that I can, like, not hold someone's hand if I like them, like, or, like, give them a full front hug, or... kiss when I feel like the time is right. I was like, I just think that's a big part of a relationship. And he was like, okay, well, I hear what you're saying, but like, can you just give us a chance? And I was like, oh, this guy, okay, fine. And then we went out on our second date and I was glad and I was like, okay, I'm starting to like this guy. Maybe I could just be fine with not holding hands. Which it wasn't that long into our dating relationship before we started holding hands, but...
Yeah, I didn't wait as long as I
thought he would.
Initially wanted to for that. I did wait till I got her father's permission to marry her to kiss her. So at that place in our relationship, I felt like I know this girl well enough to see a future with her. Assuming she wasn't going to drop any other just like bombs on me that I just... Again, I'm looking at the person that I see right now and the trajectory, the path that you're on, not...
the past. I was a new creation. Even though I was still trying to figure things out, like, there was something totally different about me. And, like, that was just clear. And I think Paul and his spirit just saw that and felt that. And that's why he stuck around. Because, like, even though I was saying, like, I have all of these struggles, it was clear that I was changing. That was kind of why he hung around and pushed for our relationship.
Yeah, I was just like, man, this woman is special.
This is just like literally the story about how we met and like our first 2 dates.
Yeah.
We have so much more.
Man, I mean, in a short amount of time, because it was 4 months of knowing each other, we were engaged, and then another 4 months and we were married. There's plenty more that can be shared, but there you go. There's how we met.
Yep. Comment below and let us know if you appreciated and enjoyed our How We Met love story.
Yeah, was any part of it just like, did it really catch you off guard? Let us know what part that was. If you enjoyed hearing about Morgan and I's life and how we met, give this video a thumbs up.
And don't forget, you guys, click the link below to sign up for the Trainer Joe's 21-day program.
Come on, join us. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it.
All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll catch you again very soon. Have hope.
And be free. I just like had never met a guy like him in my life.
It's kind of like, this man is so strange and mysterious and wild and fascinating.